All right, guys, we're back. Chris, I don't have to ask you what week it is. I know what week this is. It's playoff week.
Playoffs.
Talk about the playoffs right after this. Well, Chris, I'm back to my old question. What caught your eye Friday night?
I think what caught my eye was the amount of really good teams that played some big-time games that really stepped up at the right time going into the playoffs with some momentum. We see Mooresville with a big win. Richmond County, huge win over Pinecrest. Crest rolling over rival Kings Mountain 70-0. Providence taking care of business against AK. The teams that needed to get on a good momentum streak going into the playoffs really stepped up and did so.
Yeah, big win for Providence. They started out 1-3, and they got a lot of momentum right now. One of the things that caught my eye, a little bit sad, at Garinger High School, they had senior night. Garinger actually quintupled their point total from last year. They broke a 48-game win streak, so there's a lot to be thankful for. But they had 11 players, seniors, on senior night, but only 5 or 6 of them had parents. And Coach Jupiter Wilson just kind of broke my heart with that Instagram post, just saying he had not seen that in 19 years of coaching. Just hearing all that, I mean, how does that make you feel about Garinger? And the fact that, those kids stepped up, their teammates and the other coaches stepped up for those young men that night.
I would have liked to have stood in for one. About it's a tough situation that kids don't get support. And that's one of the biggest issues at Garinger is support, both from the admin and family support. So just when I saw that, I thought, well, I wish I'd have known. I would have gone to that game and stood in with somebody.
Chris, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I concur with Dale. That it breaks your heart. I remember spending time in the locker room in the field house with Coach Wilson before the season started, and he could have. He's a good enough coach. He could have picked a lot of jobs to take over. The Lord put him at Garinger, and he felt like he was at the right place where he needed to be. I agree. I know a lot of the coaches in the city agree as well. And there's a lot of young men and even some young women that are going to be a lot better in life because of what Coach Wilson's doing to build that program. And, I know it's tough. It's tough to see some young people without a parent or a guardian there with them. But I trust the process that I think Coach Wilson's going to implement. And I think changes will take place at the G.
Yeah, Gary, the thing that I noticed in the post, it really struck me because he said he told the young men there's a lot of situations or circumstances that people on the outside will say your situation is broken. But he reminds his kids about how being on the team and finding teammates will help you mend those broken pieces. I thought that was pretty powerful. What do you think?
Well, you got to find the good in everything that they're going through over at Guarantee. You got to find the positive.
Yeah.
If you only value what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, you're never going to find anything positive. And we don't know the circumstances as to why some of those kids didn't have a parental escort. Maybe their parents had to work and they couldn't afford to take the night off.
Right.
That happens. I've had, I've been a head coach where I've had kids that didn't have representation for whatever reason. It's not that the parents don't care, but sometimes they're more extenuating circumstances. What you like to do as a coach is find out ahead of time so you can have somebody escort them out. Maybe it's their favorite teacher.
Right.
If you know ahead of time, hey, you go speak to this teacher, say, hey, this kid needs an escort, or an administrator, or even a parent of a junior or a sophomore who's not being honored that night, and say, hey, can you step in for this parent because they couldn't be at the game? I think as long as you know ahead of time, the main thing is recognizing those 11 seniors because they stuck it out. They did something that a lot of people that have gone to Garinger haven't done, which is finish the season.
Yeah.
And so the main thing is to recognize those 11 seniors and, for future, for any coach, not just Garinger. If you're going to recognize kids on senior night, just make sure that they have somebody to go with them. If it's not a relative, then find a teacher, find an administrator, find a junior or a sophomore parent. But, you don't want to let them go out there by themselves.
Sam, this is your guy. What do you got?
Well, I guarantee I'm pretty sure. I mean, I wasn't at the game, obviously, but I'm pretty sure that he had coaches walking with these individuals.
He did. No, he said he did. He said.
Yeah. This guy is different. This is what we're talking about. Coaching will change. Coaches mean more than what you can imagine. I mean, Jupiter has people living with him right now. He's being a father. He's being a coach. He's being a mentor. He's being a pastor. He's being everything he could possibly be, wearing many hats, because he knows he's making a difference in people's lives. He could have easily taken a job. I mean, he had a job with us instantly, and maybe it'd have been a little bit easier on him. But he chose to go down the path where he knew it wasn't going to be easy, and he's making a difference. And when he says things are going to be changed at the G, they're already changing. I've been to their practices before. Guy's one of the best men I've ever been around in my entire life. I've told people before when I left Hickory Ridge, a better man took the job over me. And I mean that. Like the guy is a phenomenal person. He does more than win football games. He changes lives. And, I'm happy to call him a friend and a brother in Christ, no doubt. But he is a special individual. And those things will continue to change at the G. And watch out for them, because he's the guy that is stubborn. He will not go nowhere else. And there'll be 1,000 people probably reaching out to him to try to change their program, and he's like, nah, I'm good where I'm at. I know this guy pretty well.
All right, well, Sam, stick with us. We're going to come back to you as we get to the playoffs. Hear your thoughts, and also hear about thoughts of a particular game that might actually happen now that everybody's been wanting to see. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Something else, man.
I got to keep it going. All right, Chris, a lot of teams in the playoffs have losing records. I know that bothers you. It also bothers a certain coach at Palisades, Jonathan Simmons. Your thoughts about teams in the playoffs with losing records? A lot of them.
In some instances, it can be helped. On the 1A, for example, there's barely enough teams to field a playoff. I agree with the frustration. And when you let 1-9 teams in, especially in the 7A, when you've got 4-win teams that really were trending and could have been 6 and 7-win teams, it's a head scratcher, and it makes me wonder, why are we doing this whole RPI situation? It's frustrating. I mean, we could spend a whole show on this. So I concur with Coach Simmons, and I don't have the right answer to give, but I know that what we got just doesn't seem to be it.
Well, I know somebody on our show that doesn't like RPI. Mr. Dale, what do you think about this?
It's two different things. I mean, I don't like RPI, but at the end of the day, when you look at the number of teams we have and how we have to fill brackets, you're going to have teams with losing records regardless. And we're not the only state that does this. They do it in Texas. So, we think of Texas as the number one football state. They do it in Texas. They do it in Ohio. They do it in Florida. They do it in Georgia. They do it in Alabama. They do it in South Carolina. They do it everywhere. So I think that's losing records. I mean, what are you going to do? The only thing you can do is shorten the number of teams in the playoffs if you want to keep teams with losing records out. That's your only option. RPI versus power rankings is a whole nother subject.
And 6 weeks is too long in the playoffs. So I like
I agree.
I think the
season is too long, period.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I think the process became flawed as soon as they start having split conferences. Because let's just take Mecklenburg County, for example. Yep. You could have had one 1A conference, one 8A conference, and 2 7A conferences. Okay, then you take the top 2 finishes from every conference, and then everything else is a wild card with the rest of the state. But this idea of we're not going to recognize conference champions with automatic bursts, that is the most asinine 10, 11, 12 I've ever heard, where the conference champ doesn't get an automatic berth. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, interesting topic. All right, we're going to move ahead and look at the private schools. We're going to talk about the private schools later on, but right now we're going to bring in one of the best guys over in the private schools, my man DC Kerr, Providence Day. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
Tell us about the season. You guys are rolling over there at PD.
Yes, sir. We're undefeated currently. Looking to win that ring.
Tell me about the game. You guys had 20 pancake blocks, which was a school record. Explain to people what a pancake block is, first of all, and then tell me how you guys beat Country Day.
I mean, our coach says dominating them, but it's just driving the man, getting him on his back. You just gotta show the physicality, really.
Yeah. Coach Grant always says about forcing a man against his will. I think that's what the topic he uses.
Yeah.
How determined are you guys after last year coming up short up at Raven Gap by that much to win the state championship to get it done this year?
Honestly, it took a lot of growing for us. Really, we came together as a team. It's all about unity. Honestly, we all bought in, and we won it bad since we didn't win it last year. And I feel like our coaches know that, and us as players know that. We believe that. So.
Yeah.
We're just gonna stick to the process, and we just gotta ride it out. I got full confidence in this team, thinking that we can make it all the way to the state championship, win the state championship. So it's just all about the standard for us.
How difficult has it been, because you had your brother go down for the season, the kid, your teammate committed to Clemson. Tell me his name. His name's escaping me right now.
Leo
Dinelli. Yeah, he committed to Clemson. He's not playing. I mean, did you have to move positions, or how'd you guys handle that?
So, we got a lot of people playing out of position right now, but that hasn't stopped us. So, we always got guys that's ready to step up, and that's one thing about this team is, whenever we need somebody's gonna step up for us, even though it might not be their position. I mean, I remember against Roseville, our defensive end, Griff Galloway, had to play right tackle, but it's just. Like, people are willing. I mean, we got players that are willing, and I feel like that's just like a team thing, a community thing. And I just we really believe in the system that our Coach Grant's put in place, and we're just gonna ride with it.
How big a deal was it?
How much time do you all spend in practice, cross training like that? Where people have to play a secondary, not in the secondary, but a second position. How much time do y'all spend in practice where you go to a different position that you might not play in the game?
I mean, I remember earlier in the season they had me playing D tackle, getting ready for Raven Gap. It's like a rolling thing. So if the coaches think they might need you, you're gonna do both O-line indie, D-line indie, all just wherever they need you. That's just you just got to be ready to go. Well,
you guys are ready to go. You got home field advantage throughout the playoffs. How big a deal was that for you guys to lock that up and not have to go back to Georgia?
Honestly, that's amazing for us. I feel like we've earned it. We've been competing all season, and I feel like these last couple games we really shown who we could be. Yeah. And it's only getting better from here. We still got some things to fix up, but I don't think that's going to stop us from winning anything.
One question the coaches always ask, I do like that. They always ask the kids, give me your favorite head coach story. Give us the favorite story about Chad Greer, something that he does a lot, the habit he has with you guys. I know he tries to outlift y'all. He did try to outlift y'all.
Yeah. I'd say Coach Greer is a man of standards, so, we got our values. So, whenever somebody breaks them, it's – never pleasant. So I remember.
Give me that.
I remember the Cannon game. We weren't up to our standard. We know what our standard was, and
no. But what's the punishment when you don't meet the standard? What do you have to do?
Man, you sit out for a quarter. Sometimes you got to roll. 100 yards, 200 yards. You sit out for a half, maybe a whole game. It's all about the process for us.
Absolutely. Well, man, listen, you guys are doing pretty well at the process. Good luck in the playoffs. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks at Raven Gap for the championship.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
You too.
So that is DC Carr, Providence Day. Gary, they're looking pretty good as they're rolling down through the playoffs.
Yeah, it's just stack them up and knock them down. Stack them up and knock them down.
You make it seem like it's a foregone conclusion.
It is. It is.
Well, Raven Gaff's got something to say about that. And Charlotte Christian, I think Christian Shaker said, okay, all right. Let me move on.
Sure.
Let me move on. Providence Providence had not won a conference championship in 4 years. They got it done this past week. They beat Ardrey-Kell 28-14, their arch rival. Keelan Shelton had 100 yards of kick returns. I got to read this. A team high 18 tackles. He had 3 passes knocked down, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble. Dale, he's going to be on live with you on Wednesday on your show, Talking Preps OT, but we got him on tape right here.
I was talking to you, Coach, about it's kind of a 2-for-1. You beat a rival and you win the conference. What's more important?
Really just staying together. We've had some struggles earlier in the season. We're really just trying to stay together. We know we got a great team, great coaching staff that believes in us. I trust my guys. We're all about family over here. It's a brotherhood. So, animosity, intensity, all that other stuff, things that bring us down as a team, it really never affect us. All we do is stay level-headed, play our game. We know what we're about. Providence Panthers, we're something different. We've come to show everybody.
Your coach said the challenges early in the year has kind of made this that much more special.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah, that definitely. We started off 1-3, losing to some top teams. Adversity, that's all it is. When you overcome adversity, standard is high, goal is high, everything. Sky's the limit for us, and I believe in that.
How excited are you about getting a chance to play in the playoffs?
Very excited. It's a good feeling. Gonna have a home game for first round. We really just got to stay together, keep working, have good practices, stay productive.
Right, and then on the opposite side of, well, not the other side of town, but over in Iredell County, Mooresville and Lake Norman probably played the game of the maybe the year so far. Mooresville up 14-0, Chris. Lake Norman storms back, scores 21 straight points, and then Brody Norman takes Mooresville down and scores the winning points with 10 seconds left. So after the game, we're from the particulars.
Hey, Brody Norman. What was going through your mind when you saw that 14-0 halftime lead evaporate literally in minutes?
Well, that's the game, and in rival games, anything can happen. When it was halftime, it's just halftime. You get a whole other half to play, and I'm glad we found a way.
What were you telling yourself and the guys in the huddle on that last drive when you finally got the lead?
What do we have to lose? Just believe in each other. We go out to eat every Thursday. The O-line, tight ends. The receivers spend so much time in meetings outside of school before practice. We work so hard on stuff like this, and that's where the chemistry really comes together.
What can you guys take from this moving forward now? Playoffs start next week.
I think there's a lot to say about fight. In the Bible, there's a lot to say about fight. David and Goliath. In Joshua 1:9, Coach Mayo sent me a verse from Deuteronomy 20, and I sent him back Joshua 1:9 because it was similar. God's always with us, and you just have to believe. That's all it is.
Yeah, obviously that was not his best game, but I told him, I believe it was yesterday, that he just instills confidence in everybody that's around him, and that's what he did. Nobody lost faith. Nobody lost faith. For him to, not play great early in the game and then that last drive just turn it on, it's just a testament to the kind of young man that he is and the work that he puts in 24/7.
Now, what can your team take from this moving forward, playoffs starting next week?
We're just selfish. We got to cut out our selfishness. We've got to do a better job eliminating penalties and being more disciplined. And that's something that we've had to work on from the entire year. And obviously, we got to continue to clean that up.
I've done this for 18 years of my life, and I've been a part of a lot of good teams, but I've never been more proud of a team in a loss. These kids could have quit at halftime. A lot of teams that I've coached and even teams I've been a part of as an assistant would have quit, and these guys didn't. They fought, and they showed me what their heart looks like, and I think they showed everybody in the stadium what they're made of. And I'm excited that we get another opportunity to do this again, maybe next week or a couple weeks, depending on how the bracket works out. But there's a good football team off Dooley Road, and the next team that comes here, the next team we have to go to is going to find that out.
Man, I love that last part. The next team we come to, the next team, wherever we got to go, they're going to find it out. All right, Bo, before we get out of here for this section of the show, we did talk about the Players of the Week. They had their own special show. Chris hosts that every week, as you guys know. Sawyer Chapman-Mays had a huge game. Trey Clyburn in West Iredale set a new state record with 5 pick sixes. Gary, you ever seen 5 pick sixes in the game on PlayStation?
No.
Seen that. Land Farmer and Eli Hamrick, 2 quarterbacks that may be up for the Mr. Football. Who knows? They had huge games and big wins. DeMonte James was on with us. You can see him. T.O. McFadden had a ice bath game, you guys call it, 40 carries. Caleb Richardson had a great game. Ryder Shoresman had a big kid up in the Raleigh area, had a great game, as well as Chase Sizer and Brody Norman, you just talked about. He's on live on that show as well. I put a link up so you can click that and check out that show. But when we come back from the break, it's time to talk about these playoffs. We got the best crew to break down the playoffs. We got Dale, we got Chris, we got Jim West in the back, we got Gary, we got Eric, the coaches, and we're going to break it all down class by class, including the private schools, when we get back. Every week on Thursday and Saturday morning, get the latest in high school news from around the region in the Charlotte Observer's free newsletter, Talking Preps, the newsletter. Make sure you sign up now.
All right, guys. Hey, it's that time of the year. I got my guys right here, Dale Ross, Jim West. And, if we're on the screen, we got to be talking about playoff brackets. We're going to talk about all the brackets that were just released for the 2025 championships. Let's go ahead and start with the 1A. We'll kick it off with the lower classes. I'll move from east to west. There you see it right there. Several teams with the bye. So not a lot of guys going to be playing this week, but there you look at it there in the east. Kip Pride, which is up there in Gaston. They've got the bye. They're the overall number 1 seed. We'll look at their the 2 seed in the east, north side, the 3 seed, Beargrass, the 4 seed, Wilson Prep. And then looking there at the 5 seed, Southeast Halifax. We do have a couple games this week, or this is the first game, Washington County, North Edgecombe, and then Sally B. Howard over there in Wilson against Columbia. And then again, Hobgood, Charter, and Weldon. Just a 30,000-foot snapshot. Jim, I'm going to give it to you. What do you see transpiring here in this 1A East?
I think I guess it would be the third round, Kip Pride versus Wilson Prep. I think that'll be a really good game. And then probably in the regional final between the winner of Kip Pride, Wilson Prep versus Northside Pinetown. I think whoever wins that will end up winning the 1A.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally think that we'll see Northside there in the regionals and definitely that Kip Wilson Prep. Now, I'm just going to throw it out there. Wilson Prep's an uberly talented team, but they also played a very, very aggressive schedule, much more higher class teams that come into the playoffs 5-5. I think that's a recipe for breaking the heart of a team like Kip or somebody like that, despite the records.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, when you play teams like Clayton, this is a 7A team, and Northeastern, and I mean, Wilson Prep just played a brutal schedule.
Yeah, totally agree. Dale, any thoughts on Eastern North Carolina 1A football?
My thoughts are that it'll probably come down to Kip Pride, and I kind of like Wilson Prep, but Northside's obviously a power.
And I like the fact that Northside runs the football. They're very good at it. So we'll see. Let's take a quick look at the West here, 1A, before we move up. Robbinsville, the number 1 seed. I don't think any of us would disagree with that. South Davidson, 9-1. Got to give shout out to all the guys there at South Davidson. What an incredible year for them. Looking through Thomas Jefferson, they've got the bye. North Stokes with the bye. East Columbus. Now, that's a story in itself, how East Columbus – just a few miles from Wilmington, ended up in the 1A West. But, that's not something that we haven't seen before. That's typical. I do have a couple games taking place this week. Winston-Salem Prep, Chatham Central. That's a repeat of last week's game. Rosman hosting Bonnie Cone. CPLA up there in Jamestown, they'll be playing Andrews. I could see an Andrews, I could see Andrews coming by and winning that game. I also could see Rosman being one of the teams to potentially give South Davidson a run in that bottom half of the bracket. Obviously, I think that it's a Robbinsville look for the championship. Dale, I'm going to let you go first since we're talking about the West. What do you see here?
Yes, I agree with you on Robbinsville. That's my pick to actually win it all. I I thought the state had decided to try to eliminate these, far eastern teams having to play far western teams. I don't like seeing that. So we're going to end up having obviously that kind of a situation. But in the end, I think it's going to be Robbinsonville. I think they may, this is one of those that it looks like the seeds 1 and 2 may work themselves out to be the two that play in the regionals.
Yeah. Jim, put a bow on the 1A for us.
Well, I just want to say one quick thing about South Davidson. Since the school's been called South Davidson, they've never had a winning season. They've gone 6-6 before. You have to go back to 1974, last time a high school in Denton had a winning season. The 74 team went 6-3-2. It was called Denton High School then. They went into the playoffs, and they lost 48-0 to no other team but Robbinsville. So you can look it up.
Wow. Always leave it to Jim West to give us an incredible nugget like that. We appreciate your insight. If I'm going to give my guru hat, and I hate that name, but Langston did name me that. I'm probably going to say Robbinsville is my favorite to win the whole thing. I'm not going to discount either Kit Pride or Wilson Prep, but I really like Robbinsville. But guys, what do we say? Let's move up to the 2A class and kind of take a quick look at this. Or we could just call this the Tarboro Invitational. But looking there, 2A East, we'll start there. Obviously, Tarboro is the number 1 seed. And Warren County, I see getting a little bit of a scroll right there, so I can read it just a little bit better. Warren, they're the 2 seed, the 3 seed, North Duplin, East Bladen, the 4, Manio, the 5. We will not go through all of these just for the sake of time. I'm looking at the top half of the bracket. Obviously, I think it's Tarboro. I don't think that there's much disagreement in the panel with this one. I do think East Bladen is surging at a good time, and I also think Hobden is a team that's looking really good at a right time. So I don't know if any of those 2 teams can make any noise in the top half of the bracket. Looking at the bottom half of the bracket, I really I'm going to say this, and this is probably going to go against what a lot of the records and maybe some of the experts out there in the internet and some of the other people out there reporting are going to say, but I think this Edenton home teams, Paul Hoggard, that team, if you really dig into the film, the Aces seem to be getting really, really hot at the right time. Jim, I'm going to let you give your take.
I'm glad you said that. The third round game between North Duplin and Edenton Homes is going to be a slobber knocker, as I think Brian Hells would say. I do like Warren County in the bottom, but to me, Tarboro, this is the 9th time. This is potential to be the 9th time in a row that they've gone to a regional championship game, and I think can win. I think this is, like you said earlier, on the Tarboro Invitational at this point.
Yeah. Dale, any thoughts on 1A East?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be everybody other than Tarboro playing each other so they can play Tarboro eventually. And Tarboro is just going to knock everybody off all the way to the state championship.
Totally agree. Let's shift our focus here to the 1A or the 2A West. I think that this is a very interesting bracket that I think is a wide open field. We'll kind of give you the high parts. Obviously, Murphy is the 1 seed, Starmounts the 2 seed. The 3 seed is Allegheny, the 4 seed, East Wilkes. And the 5 seed, I was trying to find it here, that's kind of jumbled, is Corvian. Also, I'm going to throw it out there, Community School of Davidson, they're the 9. I've seen these guys. These guys are really good. If I had to look at it right now, it's hard to just say that any one of these teams is going to come out. I can't with a lot of certainty say that Murphy will come out of the top bracket. Obviously, I think they'll be in the mix. But East Wilkes, really good. Community School of Davidson, really good. Obviously, Corvian, they're elite. Bottom half of the bracket, Starmount, I like them a lot. But Allegheny, I was just up on the top of the mountain this week at Sparta, giving away a Player of the Week ball to their quarterback, John Lemaster. Allegheny can just dominate you on the line of scrimmage. That's a special, special team. Dale, I'm going to give it to you first.
This side of the bracket is heavy with the better teams in the state. I think, I don't know, Chris, maybe 8 to 9 of the best teams in the state sitting here in the West. I think there's going to be a lot of battles here. I kind of like Community School of Davidson going back to the championship, but Murphy, not Community, I meant Corvian. Community School of Davidson could present some challenges, but I think in the end, my pick is for Corvian to be able to face Thomasville against. Excuse me, Thomasville. We got them in my head too much. Tarboro. But there's going to be a lot of battles. Nobody's going to have an easy out in this game, or no easy outs.
Jim, any thoughts on the 1A West? And do you see any maybe under the radar teams that maybe people should keep their eyes out? Maybe that Bishop McGinnis team. I think that they're kind of sneaky there at the bottom.
They could be. There were 4 games in particular that I was interested in with the 2A West potential matchups. Swain at Community School of Davison, the second round. Third round, Murphy, and the winner of whoever wins between Swain and Community School of Davison. Third round matchup between East Wilkes and Corvian. I think that's going to be a pretty good one also. And also potential fourth round matchup between Starmount and Allegheny. The first time those two teams played, Starmount won 23-22 in overtime. Right now, though, I like Corvian. I like Allegheny, to be honest with you. I like those two teams. Right now, to say Corvian is probably my mild favorite.
Yeah, I really like Allegheny in that bottom half of the bracket. I'm not going to sit here and say they'll beat Starmount, but I think that, a potential regional or quarterfinal game, that one has a chance to be a doozy. But nonetheless, I think the 1A or the 2A West is going to be fun to watch. So keep your eyes open for that one. We're going to move forward now and take a look at the 3A. Again, I think that this one's has some opportunity for some really good games. We'll start in the East as always. James Keenan right there, the number 1 seed, 2 seed, Pender County, 3 seed, Midway, 4 seed, Lewisburg, 5 seed, Martin County, 6 seed, Pasquotank off a 21-14 victory over Northeastern this year. Last week, Northeastern's in the 7 seed. Looking at this bracket, I think that Keenan is the clear number 1 team. I think they're the best team in the bracket, and I expect them to probably have a deep run. There's some teams in there that can certainly make noise. Like Kinston right there they have the ability to score a lot of points. Princeton also, they can get in some runs and score a lot of points. But looking at that bottom side of the bracket, I still think that Northeastern at that 7th seed is probably the team that I'm going to favor. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I'll tell you what, Martin County over Williamston, good matchup between James Keenan and Martin County, probably in the 3rd round. Martin County, they play in a pretty good conference. They have Pasquotank, Northeastern, at which both of those teams, I think you can't dismiss either one of those either. You got Princeton, you got some pretty decent teams like Kinston, as you said. Midway, another great team on here. But to me, James Keenan's a moderate favorite. To me, James Keenan's the A team, and there's probably 6 or 7 B teams here. But and a B team can beat an A team, and that's the great thing about football.
There could be, but I'm just going to give one potential dark horse that maybe could be overlooked, and that is Wallace Rose Hill. Another 5-5. They lost 28-21 to Keenan this past week in the final game of the regular season. That's a much, much better team than that 5-5 record. Kind of like some of the other teams out there, like a Northeastern. Wallace has scheduled a very aggressive non-conference schedule, played a lot of really, really good teams, and lost some games really close. So Wallace could be a team that, if they get that rematch with Keenan next week, could be a potential upset.
I agree with you.
All right, Dale, any thoughts on the 2A or the 3A East?
I agree with both of you. I like Keenan. There's more battles here overall than, say, the other 2 classifications in the East. But, yeah, I like Keenan.
All right. Well, hey, let's take a peek at the 3A West. I think that this one's a doozy of a bracket as well. I think there's a potential of several teams to make some really, really deep runs, and there's going to be some good teams that are going to get their feelings hurt probably early based off of how the brackets work themselves out. Obviously, up there in Burnsville, Mountain Heritage, the number 1 team. Mount Airy right there coming in at 2. Eastern Randolph 3. Eastern got pushed to the west. That shakes things up. 4 North Stanley, Providence Grove 5, Walkertown 6, East Rutherford. I wanted to get to the 7th spot because I think that East Rutherford team may be the team to really keep an eye on, as well as obviously Shelby right there at 10. And that's kind of why I talked about some teams getting their feelings hurt. Looking at the top half of the bracket, obviously I like Mountain Heritage, but that Lincolnton team right there at 8, Lincolnton is a team that I think is really good, kind of somewhat under the radar, but I think that they're a really good team. Hendersonville as well. Those are some teams that are just kind of, they just have the look of potentially deep runs. Obviously, Jim, your alma mater right there, North Stanley, I think that they're a year or two away from being really, really, really special. But they're going to be good. The bottom half, it's hard for me to sit here today before we head into the first round and even pick a winner because there's such good potential for some really good games. But Dale, I'm going to give you a shot to give us your 2 cents on this.
Chris, Fight Club.
It is.
This has got to be very similar to what we called for a long time 4A West Fight Club. This is a fight club here, without question. I kind of like Shelby maybe coming out of that bottom half. I think Mountain Heritage is going to be they're going to be a tough one for everyone to beat. They rightly got a number 1 seed. But there's a lot of good teams in here. You mentioned Lincolnton, don't count them out. I think we got a lot of, and Walkertown's another one I think that could, get some wins that maybe people don't think. I don't know how close they are to a dark horse, but there are a lot of good teams here. Again, got to bring your A game every game.
Yeah. I think the number 1 seed being held by Mountain Heritage, forcing teams to go up the mountain to Yancey County. I think that is going to be a little bit of a factor. Jim, any thoughts on this 3A West?
Well, a couple of things. First thing, it is just loaded. I was looking at the Lincolnton Henderson game, that 8-9. That's going to be a really good game right there. Lincolnton is a team that lost to Stuart Kramer a few weeks ago, but before that they beat Shelby. So do not dismiss them whatsoever. Lincolnton, if Henderson beats Lincolnton, that's one of those teams that could possibly do okay against Mount Heritage. It wouldn't be a big drop off. And Hendersonville is loaded also.
They are.
That second round game between Shelby and East Rutherford, that's the one I keep on going back on. Looking at the whole thing, though, Mountain Heritage to me has the easiest path. Shelby's probably got the most tradition, but the 2 teams that are closest to my heart is the 7th seed East Rutherford and the 6th seed Walkertown. Walkertown reminds me so much of Reidsville. It's unbelievable. That is a very complete team.
Hard to disagree with you. Really hard. I do think Shelby is a team that's just the most dangerous on the bottom half. Them and East Rutherford, Walkertown as well. Hard to go against them. I wanted to throw it out there. The Lincolnton, I know they lost the week after knocking off Shelby in overtime, but they did not have their best player. In fact, Coach Engel, I think he had several starters that did not play just for some health reasons that week. So I think healthy Lincolnton probably would have won that game. But nonetheless, I think they're a really dangerous team. So keep an eye on the Wolves. Here talking preps, we're breaking down the playoffs. We hit 1A, 2A, 3A. Hey, we're starting to move up the chain, so let's move up to 4A. I think we're going to start to really see some big time action here. Kind of the mid-ranked, the mid-sized schools. Looking there at the East. Reidsville, football capital of North Carolina, no surprise with them getting the 1 seed. West Craven right there, that's a team that I have liked all season long. That West Craven team, they're special. Really good team. There you see East Duplin right there at the 3 seed, the 4 seed, Central Davidson, Randleman 5, Bunn 6. This is going to be an interesting bracket. Even I want to throw in there T.W. Andrews out of High Point. I think that's a very dangerous team. Looking at the bottom side of the bracket, I mentioned West Craven. I feel like to me they are far and away the favorite coming out of that bottom half. I don't see any team, including East Duplin, that I just look at that I think could handle the running game that West Craven will present. Looking at the top half of the bracket too, hard to say that anyone can knock off Reidsville. Maybe Central Davidson because of the uniqueness of their offense, but I don't even know that I see that happening. Jim West, what do you think?
If Reidsville and Central Davidson make it to the 4th round, which I think they will, I will be at that game. That'll be the day after Thanksgiving. I think that would be a great game to go to burn off some of that turkey. I think that Central Davidson team is the one team that can beat Raceville in that top half. And I'm pretty much agree with you on that. West Craven, East Duplin, it could be a decent game. I think everything's going to have to go right for East Duplin and West Craven. They would have not be able to – they would have to be at their A game. But I see a Raceville West Craven game and final, and be honest with you, it could go either way. It's going to be a really good one. Right now I don't have a favorite.
Yeah. Dale, any thoughts on the 4A East?
Is it fair to say I don't like seeing some of these Western teams here?
Yeah, there's definitely a Western feel to the East, and definitely. The one team I'm just going to say, looking at the bottom side of the bracket, I always try to identify a team maybe to look at as an underdog or maybe a dark horse that could kind of march their way through. If there was one team in the East, I know they've got a 5-5 record, but I think that they're a much, much better team. In fact, if you broke down all the film, which I have, I think they could have been an 8-2 team. I think Clinton is a team that could make some noise in that bottom half of the bracket, Jim.
Yeah, I agree with you. They played a brutal schedule, and they're actually playing their best ball right now.
They really are. So that's a team. Dark horses maybe are the dark horse, so we'll keep an eye on them. Let's shift our focus over to the 4A West. Brevard, the number one team, there is no doubt about that. The Blue Devils are really good. They're in a tough mountain conference up there, and they came out there. They had to, they had to fend off some tough battles there towards the end with Franklin and Pisgah. But I like the Brevard Blue Devils. They're the number one seed. High Brighton, number 2. Boy, I really like that team. 3, Newton Conover. All they do is win. 4, Pisgah. 5, Mount Pleasant. 6 is Maiden. 7, Stuart Kramer. 8, Burns. I'm naming these teams because I think it's that deep bracket there in the 4A West. Looking at the top half of the bracket, I think Brevard has a chance to move their way on to the first, the second, maybe even the third round. Burns, I think Burns is a team, even though they're the 8th seed. Burns was the one team that I would look at the most dangerous look there, kind of coming out of that bottom half of the bracket. I do think Burns can tangle with Pisgah. I think Burns could probably beat Mount Pleasant. So Burns is kind of that team that I would kind of look for that fourth round game, potentially against Brevard. Looking at the bottom half of the bracket, hard to go against Newton Conover because they just seem to win week after week after week, even when the deck is stacked against them. Maiden, strong team, strong running game. Stuart Kramer, what a special year for them. But hard to go against High Brighton. I'm going to tell you what, High Brighton, I've watched this team a lot. They are really good, really, really good. JV's undefeated. Their best class is their sophomore and junior class. I think this High Brighton team is going to be around for a couple years. Dale, what do you think?
So, one, it's good to see Brevard having a great season, 10-0. I think them and Reedsville really did a good job of earning number ones. But, when you look at the squads right behind, I kind of like Newton Conover. I think Newton Conover's had a good season. They've won some great games. I think there's a lot of teams just right there behind them. There's, Maiden, and you got Bandies, and there's a lot of teams that, again, I think will put up a lot of fight. This is a deep field, and as you mentioned, High Brighton. So,
yeah, Newton Conover has 2 losses: East Lincoln and Hickory. That's a pretty good resume going into the playoffs.
Very good resume.
Jim, help us put a bow on the 4A West.
I'll tell you what, we always talk about dark horses. I've talked about on this to you guys beforehand. 4A, you're going to have some dark horses come up here. West Iredale, 13 seed. They were a very dangerous 13 seed. Just a great team on that. Bandies, they gave Hickory a fight this last Friday. High Brighton, that's a great team. Brevard is too. I think it's going to be between those two, and I'm going to go give the edge to Brevard.
All right. Sounds good. Coach Luke Coleman, the Brevard Blue Devils, they've just been winning all year. Tough schedule, don't matter. They keep winning. So there's a look at the 4A here on Talking Prep. So now we're going to move up to the top half. After all, I don't know if we're going to take a break or not, but we'll get to the 5A. But man, 4A through 1A, incredible. I can't wait to see some of these games, and we are going to take a break. So, hey, Talking Preps, let's take a break. Let's send it to some sponsors, and I can't wait to get back and talk some more football. Hey, this is Chris Hughes, host of the Observer's Talking Preps. Proud to say that our show is growing and growing and growing, and we've got a brand new schedule. Mondays at 8 p.m., get our players of the week. No more waiting. Then on Tuesday, 8 p.m., catch me and Sam and all the guys of the #1 show in high school football in North Carolina, Talking Preps. Wednesdays, 8:30, Dale Ross and Jim West will host Talking Preps OT Live, talking about statewide issues, trends, and interacting with viewers. And don't miss our post-game show Fridays at 11 p.m. where we wrap up all of the night's actions. At Talking Preps, we've got you covered all week. Hey, we got Sam Griner in the box. It must mean that we're moving up to some big-time games. We're going to move up to 5A, 6A, 7A, and then, of course, the 8A here, Talking Prep. So we're going to get all the insight, all the expert breakdown. We're going to start in the East right here. We're looking at the 5A East. Wilson Hunt, JB Hunt, #1 seed. #2, Northeast Guilford, #3. Jacksonville Northside, #4, Croatan, 5, Currituck County, 6, St. Paul, 7, Rocky Mount. I want to keep listening to these because I think these are some really good teams. 8 seed there, Southern Nash. How often is it that Southern Nash is an 8th seed? That just doesn't seem possible. Southeast Alamance, 9th seed. These are all teams that I think are really good football teams. I want to look at the top half of the bracket there. Eastern Alamance, Coach John Kirby, look for them to beat Fike. I think that Eastern Alamance is a team played a really tough conference. That could be potential, a challenger for hunting that top side of the bracket. Obviously, I really like Southern Nash as well. Currituck County, they're a big physical team coming out of Eastern North Carolina. But looking at the one team that intrigues me, Jim, and I'm going to throw it to you first, is Havelock right there at 12. Havelock has played a tough schedule. Coming on strong. They're a sophomore-heavy team. Even got some freshmen there on the roster. I think that this Havelock team is a team that I've got circled coming out of the bottom of the top half of the bracket. And I'll let you finish in a second. But looking at the bottom half, North Side, they lost that close game to Havelock this week. I like them a lot. St. Paul's, I think, is a really good team. And then, that cluster right there, Rocky Mount, Western Alamance, Dixon, they score a ton of points. Northeast Guilford, to me, the late rounds looks to me kind of like Northeast Guilford and Havelock. Jim West, I'm going to give it to you. What do you see?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Havelock. I have them going to the 3rd round playing against Croatan, and I think that's going to be a really good game. And to be honest with you, that one could go either way.
And that was a 1 point or a 1 score. That was like a couple-point game earlier in the year. I think that's a game Havelock flips in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's kind of how I'm feeling about it too. That Havelock is not playing like a 12 seed; they're playing more like a 3 or 4 seed right now. And as a sophomore, you're playing a bunch of sophomores. They're going to grow fast. I mean, talking about adversity, that's the best way to grow is through adversity. I tell you, the team that's really got my eyes out on right now is Northeast Guilford in the bottom half. That is the team that right now, if I had to pick a team that would be closest to the favorite, Northeast Guilford's on there, and also St. Paul's. We don't talk much about St. Paul's, and I think that's a very dangerous team too.
No, I totally agree there. Northeast Guilford, I had a chance to stop by the school, met Coach Hall, looked at some of the guys. He had a guy that Coach Griner, I'm going to let you talk about, Jeremiah Deese. That guy's going to ODU, Old Dominion. This dude had 19 tackles last week. What a guy. You got a guy like that can just make tackles all over the field. You got a chance.
Yeah, no doubt. I would have 2 questions for him. Either he's that fast and that athletic, or we got to get some D-line play to be able to help him out a little bit. So 19 tackles is a whole lot for any individual. And I would love to watch that game. I probably need to go watch that clip. So this guy getting 19 tackles, that's pretty spectacular.
Dale, 3A or 5A East, what do you think?
I kind of like Hunt, but there's a number of good teams here. Be honest with you, I like Southern Nash as maybe being able to come from below. I can't disagree with Croatan picks, and I do see some Eastern, what I would consider to be Western teams here in the East. I really do. Gosh, which one of them? I think Northeast Guilford maybe.
Northeast Guilford would be the team that I would see coming out of the East if I had to choose one. I don't know enough about the East, but I know a little bit about Northeast Guilford. I think Northeast Guilford is the team to beat in the East. It's early to tell. There's a lot of rounds to be played, but I like them a lot.
Yeah. Same here. I definitely think the strength of the bracket is on the bottom, north side. You got St. Paul's, as Jim West mentioned. I really think Rocky Mount's a tough physical team, and they can run the ball as well. So kind of between, if I had to pick a team today, it probably would be Rocky Mount or Northeast Guilford, but I think that bottom side of the bracket definitely is where the strength lies. Let's shift our focus now to the 5A West. South Point, the Red Raiders, the Red Bone offense. So they come in number 1, number 2, J.M. Robinson, number 3, Hickory, number 4, Crest, number 5, East Lincoln, number 6 is Franklin, number 7, Northwest Cabarrus, number 8, Monroe, number 9, West Rowan. There is some really, really good teams in this west side of the bracket. Looking at the top side right now, it's going to be really hard for me to go against Crest. I know that South Point is what they are. South Point is great, but Crest coming there in that number 4 seed, I could foresee a third-round game with them and Hickory here in a few weeks. I think that will be absolutely a great one. Or no, my bad. They're on the wrong side of the bracket, but I could see that Crest South Point quarterfinal, then shifting focus to the bottom side of the bracket. Hickory is playing some great football. Franklin is a team. I went up to the mountains. I watched them. They're a young team, sophomore, junior heavy. I think Franklin is in it for the long haul next 2, 3, 4 years. I think they're physical, and you got to be able to run the ball in cold playoff weather. That, Coach Griner. Looking at the bottom half of the bracket, Northwest, they're a gritty physical team. Oak Grove is really good. But J.M. Robinson, they are the team. I think that they got a chip on the shoulder. I think that they're better than a lot of the experts think. I could foresee a Robinson-Crest semifinal game or regional final game to go to the championship. But, Dale, you're our Western guy. You know these teams really well, too. What do you think?
So, Chris, I think there's 4 teams that are just like heavy favorites. And any one of these 4 teams can win, and that's Hickory, East Lincoln, South Point, and Crest.
I agree.
I think those are all great teams.
You said J.M. Robinson too?
You got to put Robinson.
Wait a minute, not yet. Hang on. I hadn't finished. Those are 4 that I think we got to really look at and say these are heavy favors. Now, a lot of people aren't giving J.M. Robinson a lot of credit. I do. And so does that mean that J.M. Robinson is a dark horse? I think J.M. Robinson can play with these teams. Now, I do think they'll have to have a few things go right for them. And there's also another team that you got to give a little bit of thought to, and that's Monroe. But those first 4 that I mentioned, we know are brutal against each other. I like East Lincoln a lot. You got to like Hickory a lot, but I don't know. Right now, I couldn't pick a winner out of all these.
I'd say there's a lot of championship pedigree on the West over here. There's a lot of teams from East Lincoln that's won it a few years ago. South Point traditionally is always very tough to play when it gets cold, gets wet. You never know. Their game rises up, and they've beaten a lot of good teams. Now they're the number 1 seed. That's very helpful playing at their place. But I do think that potential matchup with Monroe, was that possibly in the second round or the third round here? It would be the third round. I can't quite tell how y'all got the brackets all set up, but one will play the 8 eventually. I know that.
That would be the 4th round, I believe, or the 5th round. The 4th round.
It can't be the 4th round. There's no way.
There's 6 rounds.
Okay, yeah, 6 rounds. I guess so, maybe so. So it's a lot of rounds right here.
Yeah.
Too many rounds.
Yeah.
So
and I'm glad you And Dale, I'm glad you mentioned East Lincoln because, obviously with Grant Lawless, one of the best quarterbacks, and the best quarterback receiver combo with him and Jackson Dollar, that's a dangerous team. Dale mentioned Monroe. You've went against this Monroe team. I think Monroe was really young to start the season. I've seen a lot of growth in them as they've kind of started to build. How dangerous can they still be this year? Even younger, though, than they were last year.
Yeah, and that's the whole key is that, don't take it for granted. Monroe has seen a different speed than these other teams have seen. I know Crest has gone against some big competition this year, but Monroe's gone against us, and they went against Weddington. Okay, so the speed has adjusted to them very well, and they've kind of cruised through it. Everybody's like, oh, Monroe's not that good. And next thing you know, they roll off 6 wins in a row or whatever it is, 5 wins in a row. And so it's not a team you'd want to play with their championship pedigree coming off the championship last year. And they could be a dark horse to make a deeper run than people expect. Crest, definitely a heavy favorite, just because they're very polished after getting beat from, was it Ashbrook 2 weeks ago? They really won 70-0 versus Kings Mountain. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's unheard of. I had to double check it and thinking it was like someone just posted a crazy score, but it was true. And then J.M. Robinson, like you said, played another big-time school earlier in the year. Their only loss versus Myers Park. So I think these teams right here, okay, are playing unreal competition. Maybe some of the top 5 teams in the entire state, regardless of classification. They've been battle-tested, so you have time to adjust. I think teams that do that have better chances of making a run in the playoffs if they are a good football team because they've seen a different speed and they know what to expect going forward.
Yes. Hey, Coach Hells, I feel like you need to say something. I just feel like you're itching. Tell us what you feel.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing I see about this is there's so many teams here that have experience making deep playoff runs. And I mean, you guys know as well as I do, like, that experience matters. Even if the kids haven't been there, like, Sam, you mentioned Monroe, but I mean, this is a coach and a coaching staff that knows how to coach and how to navigate, through the month of November, like, especially when you start getting around Black Friday and you got days off and things going like that, like your schedule changes. It starts getting dark out now that we're in daylight savings time, and you got to adjust the way that you practice too. And I think that experience means a lot. So like when you're looking at some of these teams, like, starting, going from, South Point to J.M. Robinson to Hickory, even down through Monroe and, is an 8 seed and Western Wayne. And then when you anytime you got a school with 2 different directions in the name, with like Northwest compared 2 different directions in the name makes me nervous. But I think that playoff experience matters a lot. I think you're going to see some great games, in the Western half of this bracket, especially.
2 questions for you, Chris. Franklin and Forest Hills. Tell me what you think their chances are, because we haven't mentioned them, and those are not bad football teams.
No, Forest Hills, in my opinion, and I hate to use this term just because, but they just kind of have backed into the playoffs. I know they're 8-2, but they have just dealt with tremendous injury. They're not very healthy at the moment. Coach Deese is phenomenal, and he has coached the heck out of that team, and they're a good team, but they're just really banged up. Their quarterback transferred out, so they're not even close to the team that started off the season 5-0 and looking really good.
Well, that quarterback lost his job.
I don't want to sit here and say they don't have a chance to advance because they're a good football team. You don't go 8-2 by accident, but I just don't think that they're the team that I think that they were preseason. Franklin, though, I've been really high on this Franklin team all year. They got a sophomore running back who has played a ton of those ice-back games. Garrett Young, I've highlighted him on the show earlier this year. That is a big, physical guy. He can carry the ball 30, 40 times, and also is one of their best linebackers on defense. The quarterback's great. The offensive line at Franklin, they're reminiscent of those offensive lines that Kings Mountain kind of had in the late 90s. I think Franklin is going to be really tough. I know they're going to get at least one home playoff game, depending on how things work out. But I just think that this Franklin team is going to be hard to handle.
The one thing about Forest Hills, and it goes back to a few years ago, we tried to schedule them and they didn't want to play, had no interest whatsoever. That's the difference between them and Monroe. Monroe's having a down year this year, and they're still beating Forest Hills pretty substantially. And I think that Monroe's here to try to win championships. And there's some teams that are happy with being 7-3 or 8-2 and being okay. And I just think it's a different type of approach. I ain't trying to disrespect anybody, but the quarterback actually won the job. That's why the other kid transferred. I know that Brian Hales might remember this name way back in the day. Courtney Furr was the quarterback for the Independence Patriots back in the day. His son is now the quarterback for Forest Hills. So he just won the job, and I think the other kid, left after that.
All right. Hey, Jim West, tell us if there's any underdogs or any dark horses you see kind of coming out of the 5A, and just kind of put a bow on 5A for us.
Well, I was going to say with Forest Hills, though, Sam, the ghost of Algie on Faircloth would not be very happy with you. But I will say the Oak Grove and J.M. Robinson is a potential third-round game. That's going to be a pretty good one. I like J.M. Robinson a lot, to be honest with you. I think Hickory, J.M. Robinson, that's a good story. That's where Joe Glass coached both of those teams. Again, there's not a clear favorite in this whole bracket in the West. Great, a lot of great teams.
Absolutely. Well, hey, guys, I think 5A is going to be phenomenal. If I had to go out on a limb today, I would probably maybe go either Northeast Guilford against maybe Crest. I think Crest is playing the best football, but who knows? That ball bounces crazy ways when it gets cold outside. And like Coach Griner likes to say, I'm going to let you say it, Coach Griner, winter's coming.
I ain't said that in a long time. Last time I said that, Hills beat the brakes off on me when I was
He did. You talk about winter's coming, and we beat them down. And then I texted him a picture of the dang White Walkers.
Here's the winner.
I think you said
right. Hey, let's go to 6A. I think it's only going to ratchet up even more to 6A. This is going to get tough. Jacksonville right there, they're 9-0. They only played a 9-game schedule this year, but they are very convincing 9-0. Coach Bo Williams, they run the ball very effectively. I like what I've seen on film at Jacksonville. The Cardinals, great-looking uniforms. Love that color scheme. Great natural grass turf down there in Onslow County. But anyway, looking at some other teams, Northern Nash, they are probably my favorite in the 6A East. They are phenomenal. I had a chance to see them. They have just steamrolled through a really tough schedule. They've went out and played some aggressive teams, and they seem to be getting right at the right time. Looking at the rest of the bracket, Middle Creek, number 3, another team that seems to be surging at the right time. Union Pines, 4, Burlington Williams, 5, Southern Alamance, 6, 7, 71st. Oh, yeah, 7, 71st. How many state championships in a row have they been to? Number 8, Scotland. Like them a lot. Number 9, Terry Sanford. They've kind of been struggling here, even though they're still winning. They've kind of struggled here of late. South Johnston, 10, Greenville Rose, 11. Don't forget, Greenville Rose entered the playoffs last year with 3 wins and ended up going all the way to the regional finals. So that could be a storyline to look at one more time. Hard to go against Northern Nash, but Jim West, you're our Eastern guy. What do you see here?
I love the Union Pines team. They are loaded. They're a really good team, got great coaching. I'll look for a third-round battle between Union Pines and Williams. I think that's going to be a great one. In the top half, I think it's going to be between Jacksonville and whoever wins that Williams-Union Pines game. I like Union Pines in the top half. I really do. I just think they're a complete team. In the bottom half, I do like Northern Nash. I also like 71st. That 71st Northern Nash squad game would be a great one. 71st, they went to the 23 and the 24 state championship game. Northern Nash went to the 22 state championship game. Both of those teams have been there. Rose, I can see Rose beating Triton, and then I think they'll be favored against Southern Alamance. And even against Middle Creek. Rose could go all the way to the 4th round. But I could see something like Northern Nash versus Union Pines. I think it'd be a heck of a game.
Yeah. Another team up there in the top half, I think Scotland County is going to have their say, and even Terry Sanford. Those are some teams that I feel a little bit more confident with in that top half of the bracket. Nothing against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's good, but I like that Scotland has been through the ringer. They played one of the toughest schedules all year and still look really good. Coach Griner, you went against that 71st team in the championship game, so you know what it's like to go up against Coach McLaren. Tell me what you think. They're
huge. I can tell you that. I remember going out for just for the captains, and I was like, oh, Lord, that does not look good. And, they were like 2 feet taller than all of our captains, like everyone they brought out there. I'm just glad we were a little bit faster than them. But that coach does a phenomenal job, and they're built for this. They hardly lose games, and they're very tough to play because they run the football downhill. They play great defense. Physical football teams that can run the football and stop the run translate well when it comes to this type of football moving forward. And I think that they're built for this, and they know what they're doing. And they kind of take on their identity of where they're from, near that military base. They're just very sound, very physical, and they're very well-disciplined football team.
Absolutely. Dale Ross, what do you think out of the East?
When I was just thinking as I was looking at teams that have buys, and one of those teams that has bye, I'm not as high on them. That's Williams. When I start out and look at this, I like 71st. I have all season. Union Pines really having a great year. Great coach, great year. Knocking out Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's got a really good team from what I can tell. So I think there's more good football here this time around. Again, as we've moved up in classifications, at least the East is starting to provide more, contenders.
Yeah. Williams is one of the more cleaner teams in regard to the fact that they just don't make as many mistakes. They're just a very fundamental team. But to your point, I don't think they don't have a signature win. And they don't really have a signature win in the last 5 years. They're just a good team, but I don't think that they're a great team yet. And, Jim like Union Pines. I think Union Pines is really tough. A potential, a third round, Jim? A potential Williams Union Pines
Third
game.
round.
I think that is the moment Union Pines or Williams can kind of say, hey, we've arrived, the winner of that game.
I agree with you 100%.
All right.
And we can probably get Coach on the show.
I'm sure we could, no doubt. Looking at the 6A West, and boy, this one's going to be a thriller. Hard to wrap your head around who is going to be the team and who isn't. But all I know is Watauga, they're the number 1 seed. It is really hard to go up on top of that mountain and play against Watauga in good weather, but not to mention, late November when it's like 25 degrees and 35 mile per hour wind gust. That is a tough place to play. So the Pioneers right there, the number 1 seed, they're my favorite until someone goes up there and strips it from them. Northern Guilford, number 2. They've had some good wins on their resume. Very tough team. Number 3, Ashbrook. We know that they're good. Dale, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about them here momentarily. Number 4, Freedom. They escaped a scare from a tough 8A McDowell or 7A McDowell last week. They really had to escape that one, but Freedom comes in there. 4 seed. Sun Valley 5. I think Sun Valley, they're the second best team in Union County. They gave Weddington a great run. Sun Valley team is starting to come on strong. I think that's a good team. Asheboro, number 6. TC Robertson, a team that I talked about last week during my Chris's Corner. I think that they've come on at the right time. Really good team. Catholic at 8. I don't have a lot of hope for Catholic making a deep run, but you never know. Catholic is Catholic. They do what they do. They do it very well. Number 9, just kind of looking through there, and I'm calling out these teams because AC Reynolds 9, Kings Mountain 10. That's how deep I think this 6A West bracket is. Jim, I'm going to give you first crack at it.
Look at that second round potential game between Watauga and St. Stephen's. That was a good game just this last week.
St. Stephen's is really good, by the way. And I think St. Stephen's will beat Mount Tabor.
Tell you, this is going to shock some people, but my regional championship game in the West is Sun Valley at Ashbrook.
That's what I have. That's what I have right there, Jim. I think that, and I don't mean to jump through there, but that's I think Sun Valley is going to come out of the top end. I think they stop the run well. I think they're able to throw the football, which Watauga might not have seen well. I know it's going to be up on that mountain, but when it gets to there, and then Ashbrook is just dominant right now. Ashbrook is going to be very hard to beat the Ashbrook, even for, the Sun Valley aspect. But I think Sun Valley arguably has the best quarterback in this bracket right now.
I don't know if I'd say that. That top half of the bracket, Cade Keller, the quarterback at Watauga, he is a 180, 200-yard passing, 100, 125-yard rushing quarterback every night. And we've seen the dynamic offense that Coach Havoc up there at Watauga runs. That's a really good team. They got a guy named Thomas Delters who is just a tackling machine on defense. And I agree. Sun Valley is really good. And if this game was on the bottom side of the mountain and they didn't have to go up to Boone, I would probably favor them as well. But I just think that extra element of the weather and just Watauga in their friendly confines, I think that's going to make them hard to beat.
No doubt. They're definitely, in fact, they're the 1 seed and they're a heavy favorite. I'm just going to go with Jim, and I'm gonna pick that upset later down the road. We're allowed to do that and be wrong sometimes. I know Hales is probably I've been on that mountain before. I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Hell,
that's what I'm gonna say. It's what's the guy's name? Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel. It's like the Jim Cantori bracket. because you're having to go up to Watauga, you're having to go up to Freedom, having to go to some of these places. TC Robertson's hosting. Yeah, you love it, man. TC Robertson hosting some games, like that's a different deal. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I was cold going up there. I played in Ohio. It's cold. You take these kids from Charlotte, in the surrounding area, Union County, and that to have to go up to the mountain. That's a big dang deal. Like these guys are putting sleeves on. They're covering themselves in Vaseline. Like anything's going to happen up there. Like that's a tough mental thing. So I think that the weather's absolutely going to play a factor in this stuff. But the one team I'm really excited to see, how this postseason is going to shake out for, because y'all been talking about them all year. And, we had the kid on last week is Ashbrook. I don't want to say I'm pulling for them, but I'm just really intrigued to see what they're going to do. I know they had that big win, that the come from behind win a couple of weeks ago. And, having wins like that's really, really important. So, I'm excited to see what Ashbrook's going to do. But, man, get the sideline heaters ready. Get your kerosene now. It's going to be cold when you go up there. And you can talk about you want to tough it out, don't wear sleeves. But, brother, it's cold up on them mountains, man. It's no joke.
Dale, you saw Ashbrook last week. Give us your thoughts.
I did. First, I'm going to kind of back up, Chris, because everybody talking about going up to Watauga. You and I know what it's like up there, don't we?
Woo, we sure do.
We went up there for that big West Charlotte game.
West Charlotte.
Exactly. It does get cold up there. Quite honestly, and I know you're high on Watauga, just something I wanted to point out is that in power ratings, the number one 6A team is Sun Valley. Now, I'm just saying that because that does indicate that Sun Valley's played good competition. Now, they just edge out Jacksonville, but that kind of lets you know what kind of competition that Sun Valley is. I like Sun Valley. I think a team like Sun Valley can go up to Watauga and win. Last Friday night, and we talk cold, guys, and it wasn't as cold Friday night. But, as you get older and I've lost a lot of weight, so I don't have all that fat to keep me warm. I don't have that walrus blubber or whatever it is. And when I played ball, I think I jammed every knuckle in my hand probably twice, and now this cold sets in. So it was pretty cold Friday night. One of the things I liked about this past Friday night is, it's rival week, and Ashbrook played a rival team and played well. They are big. They're a tough, hard-hitting football team. Now, I felt like they had some issues generating some offense, but some of that could have been the fact that Hunter Huss played some pretty darn good defense. But that Ashbrook team is a team you cannot rule out as being a contender to make it to the state championships. I like Sun Valley a lot, though, but I do like Ashbrook. And I think I don't know. I don't think, as I think about who else out of the West could really make a run, I think those are the teams.
I agree. I do have one dark horse in the West, and then we're going to move to 7A. Dudley, the 11th seed, tough schedule. They've come on strong and late. That's a team that I could see kind of come up and have to tangle with Ashbrook in that top side of the bracket. So keep an eye on Coach Stephen Davis, Dudley. That's going to be a good one. But let's move over to 7A just for the sake of time. And 7A, I think that they are the Fight Club as well. Looking at the East, Cardinal Gibbons, number 1. Number 2, Cleveland. Number 3, Clayton. Even though Cleveland got beat by Clayton this week, the insanity of the RPI has Clayton the lower seed. Number 4, Garner. Number 5, Cape Fear. Number 6, D.H. Conley. Number 7, Southeast Raleigh. And I'm going to keep reading to the teams I think have the advantage. Number 8, Hillside, good team. Number 9, Cary. I don't know how strong I think that Cary team is, but they are 8-2. Number 10, Newbern. Number 11, Southern Durham. Jim West. I know Southern Durham's the team that you've liked. You've told me that a few times this year. Just kind of give me your general idea of what you feel about this 7A East, because it's going to be a battle.
Well, I'll tell you, I totally agree with you. In the 7A East, remember your C's. There's 4 C's that you guys need to remember: Cardinal Gibbons, Clayton, Cleveland, and Cape Fear. Those are your 4 teams that I think are the strongest. Do not discount Gardner. Do not discount Southeast Raleigh whatsoever. Don't even discount Southern Durham. I'm probably going to go to see that Lumberton Southern Durham game. I think Southern Durham might be just probably a step behind the top tier ones. But don't get me wrong, they could come back and beat a Clayton or Cleveland on the right night.
Yeah,
it'll be a good game.
I agree. Hey, let's take a quick peek at the 7A West. I think we're going to have a lot of discussions about this, men. So let's take a look. Grimsley, obviously the number 1 seed. Number 2, Weddington. Number 3, Independence. Number 4, Mooresville. Number 5, Reagan. Number 6, Richmond County. Number 7, Lake Norman. 8 seed is Jack Brett. The 9 seed, Davie County. And you guys are kind of getting the picture. 10, East Forsyth. 11, Porter Ridge. 12, A.L. Brown. This is truly going to be the most competitive from 1 seed all the way down to the bottom bracket. I think this is just incredible. Grimsley, hard to go against Grimsley. You know, you think back the 7, let's just look at the 4A the last few years, the number of battles we saw between Grimsley and Weddington, and then or Grimsley or Weddington and Huff. I mean, those 2 teams just, it seems to have been on a collision course the last couple of years. I think this year is probably going to be no exception. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Mooresville, really good. We've talked a lot about Lake Norman, really good. Independence, as long as they got that script, they're going to be really good. I think this is going to be big. Who wants to go first? Gary, this is going to be good. Who wants to go first? Just go ahead and
let Gary get after it right here.
Let Gary jump in.
Well, first, before we get to the matchups, West Mecklenburg's got no business being in here. Okay, let's call a spade, and you can't win 1 game, and that game be against Garinger, and you make the playoffs. That's just.
If I had my bell, I'd ring it. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I said that the other week. Wins matter. Wins got to matter. You got to win games.
It's got to matter. I'm sure they jumped some people that maybe won 2 or 3 games. I'm not sure.
Hickory Ridge won 4, probably could have won 6.
Yeah,
North Beck won 4, I think.
That's utterly ridiculous. But aside from that, I think when you get to the second round, once you get past the bye weeks, it's going to be some great games. It's going to be some great games. I still think ultimately you got to look at the top 4 teams. I don't think any of them will get knocked off before they have to play each other.
Yeah, I don't think so. But there are a few intriguing teams that I just think got some really advantageous draws that I think you could potentially see a team make a little bit of a deeper run than maybe some of the experts out there think. One of them, we talked about it in the chat, A.L. Brown. They're a team that's really largely last year's 10-0 JV team, and they've kind of gotten hot at the right time. You take a couple turnovers away, and they could have been 9-1. I know they lost close to Porter Ridge and Olympic. I think they got a great draw against South Iredale, and I could see them being maybe a team that could give Reagan a hard time in that second round. I don't know if you guys see it the same way, but there are a couple intriguing matchups.
Yeah, I mean, definitely good draw right there for them. But I just think that, there's a lot of teams that are great here. I think the team this really hot right now is Independence. I think Independence is playing really good football. I think that they have, they've taken their, loss to us. They've taken a loss to Huff early in the year, and I think that they've could have gone 2 ways from those situations. But the whooping that they put on Mallard Creek is wow. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if they're playing good football right now, they're a tough out. Even Weddington, they could beat them, which would be, a lot of surprising for a lot. But I think it's, no disrespect to any of the guys on there. Butler's rebuilding. There's a lot of teams, that Butler-Mooresville matchup. There's a lot of cool things, but we might see Richmond County and Independence in the second round. That's a great matchup. That's a pretty unique situation. And but I'd be if is Grimsley's quarterback even coming back? Does anyone know that or no?
Matter? I don't think so.
It does matter. It matters all.
I don't think it matters. I
don't think it matters now.
Okay,
I don't
well,
think it matters
I'll go ahead
either
and say it then.
because Brody Lowe that took over, the freshman, he has turned out to be one heck of. He's a blue chip guy himself.
Okay, so here I'll go ahead and say it then. No disrespect to anybody. If Grimsley's quarterback doesn't come back, they will not win the state championship.
I mean, I think it matters too.
I don't know that I disagree with you.
I would say him on this. I mean, and I know he's been playing great, but again, he's a ninth grader. You know, I mean, you're gonna have to line up and look down the barrel at those kids from, potentially those kids from Weddington. You know, and I think it matters a lot. Now, I can see if it was like one of their offensive tackles or a linebacker or something, but this is the trigger man. You know, and you got a ninth grade trigger man, and he's like you're saying, he's a future blue chip kid, and he may be able to get it done physically, but. That's a big loss if the starter's not back for them for the playoffs, especially late rounds.
And I think the world of their coaching staff to put them in the number 1 seed after their guy went down the first game, this year. That's kudos to them. They do probably maybe the best job coaching there is surrounding. I mean, they had a guy who has a second guy coming in at the helm and being able to be as successful as the other guy. Not many. So that's a great job for them being prepared for that.
Yeah, so. Dale, what do you think?
Well, first, I'm just going to say I think we've gone through the whole season. The kid has matured. Grimsley has not played a weak schedule. He's stared down the barrel, as Coach Hales put it.
I like the Weddington.
True, but hey, starter's been out all season. He's good. Who's to say he's going to be able to step in and be able to handle it? Anyway.
Yeah, but the one thing you guys are not understanding, and like I haven't watched them thoroughly, and I don't want to. I mean, like they're the number 1 seed, and if the other quarterback was still there, I mean, I would say, yeah, this is Grimsley's show. They're just a little bit better than everybody else, but that quarterback was unbelievable. Everybody talks about him throwing it. He ran the football when it mattered. And he was like Cam Newton. He was like Cam Newton trying to stop.
Understand that. All right. So Grimsley is the number 1 power rated team in 7A. Just as an FYI, they do carry the number 1 power rating. So
a lot of that's because of the game against Sam, West Charlotte.
Exactly.
Who did play with their guy?
But what do I think? I think this is a tough bracket. I know there was some comment about Independence being hot, and I love DJ and Independence. My question for Independence is, can they handle that defensive front, the front 7 that Weddington and Grimsley can throw at you? That size, the physicality.
What they don't get past Mooresville?
Well, Mooresville, and again, I'm not skipping over Mooresville. Mooresville, I saw them play Huff. I love the way that they schemed, both offensive and defensively. I think they confused Huff. They played that game down to an onside kick that didn't work out. Really good football team. I think Mooresville's a team you've got to think about as being a team that you can call them a dark horse if you want to, but I think they're one of the top 5-6 teams in the state.
I agree.
So the historians on this panel, I'm gonna ask you a question. I think it, I'm not in this bracket, so I'm talking a little bit more heavily about it, and I think it's gonna come down to the square. I can't see. I mean, I would be blown away if Grimsley, Mooresville, Independence, and Weddington are not in the Final Four.
Yes,
like it would blow me away. I don't know if there's another team of that caliber. There's 4 teams that are very high powered teams here. Now anything can happen. It's the playoffs. And
I agree with you. I think all of us probably agree.
Yeah, Sam. Like let's look at the bottom half of the bracket. Obviously, Weddington, Indy, they're kind of on a collision course, but there are 2 teams in each of those side brackets on the bottom that I think could potentially ruffle some feathers. 1 being Richmond County and 2 being Lake Norman. But still, to your point, I think that the bottom half of the bracket, Indy and Weddington. They're probably on a collision course for the quarterfinals. Top half of the bracket, I think most of us agree that Mooresville and Grimsley are on a collision course. I don't really know that I see anyone other than those two advancing. Maybe Reagan, but I don't think Reagan's quite on that level either. Jim, what do you think?
To me, Grimsley, obviously, they're a great team. I'm looking forward to see that Grimsley-Mooresville game. And if Grimsley survives against Mooresville, that'll tell us a lot of whether they could survive against a team like Weddington or even Independence. So I do think it's going to come down between Grimsley and Weddington. Right now, with everything I know, I'd give the edge to Weddington. But you know what? We got that game's going to be December 5th until it's played. Right now we're in early November,
No doubt.
So
No doubt.
a lot of things can happen.
No, I think the games that I like at the bottom, obviously Independence Richmond, just going back to the historical part of it. I mean, heck, I petitioned to rebuild Memorial Stadium and have them play at an old Memorial. But then, the winner of that game play Weddington. I think those are going to be some great games down there. And I don't mean to kind of go back to this point, but go back to the Grimsley, they haven't had a close game. Really, you go back first two games of the season for them, with Sam's crew, and then I think was it West Forsyth, maybe it was week 2. But yeah. I mean, they've been on cruise control, winning by 40, 50, 60 points most of these games. So, again, has that freshman really been challenged? Has he had to make the plays? And eventually at some point, your quarterback has to make plays. And I think it's just, and again, maybe I'm wrong. And, I always hope everybody plays the best that they can play. But, for him to have to make plays, with the state championship, trip to the state championship on the line potentially, that's saying if they get to Mooresville, if Mooresville gets by Butler and so on and so forth. I just think it's going to matter. I think it's going to matter. Hey, we got a pulse, man. We're still playing. I got practice tomorrow.
It's flipping go.
Kicking dirt. Don't be kicking dirt on me yet, man. Let's go.
I love it. Hey, Gary.
Yeah.
A lot of times there's always a team in the playoff that kind of comes out of nowhere. Maybe they're, I always get some teams that kind of have a chip on their shoulder and kind of come into the playoff feeling like they're disrespected. Even though they're at the number 3 seed, I could see Indy as a team that comes in with a chip on their shoulder that could kind of ruffle some feathers. What do you think? Maybe any holler games we'll get coming up?
Well, I think Independence will create an atmosphere around their team. Their coaches will, where they think they're being disrespected. I really think they'll create a narrative that gets their players motivated. I've gone to their last 2 games and they got a couple of coaches coming over to eye me up and down about things I said, and I'm like, get out of my face. But they will try to create something that gives them an edge, and but they have been playing extremely well, especially on offense.
They're a good football team, really, man. Trust me, they are a good football team, and you're gonna have to, whoever plays them is gonna have to play good to beat them.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if we're wrapping up 7A, Dale, I'm gonna put your feet to the fire. If you had to pick one team to win it all, who's your team?
I like Weddington.
Jim, who you got?
Yeah. Weddington.
Sam.
I'm going Independence.
Coach Hells, I hope you're picking Butler.
13C Butler Bulldogs, Cinderella story. You heard it here first. March Madness happening in November. We're a November nightmare. How about that?
Gary, what do you think?
I'm going Weddington. That defensive front is I don't think Independence can block them.
I think I'm going to go Weddington too. I'm probably wrong. I usually am, but I think Weddington. I think Andy Capone loves, and nobody's been talking about him all year. By the way, his next win, assuming that it's next week in the playoffs, will be his 100th in his career. I think he's got like a 109 record.
I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb, like I said. I want Mooresville versus Independence. That'd be pretty crazy. And I love Andy Capone. I think the Independence has got something funky up their sleeve right now. I really do. I don't know
hard to disagree. And I would want to pick Indy. And if it wasn't for, I just think that Weddington's a little it's hard not to pick Indy. Indy's playing right now.
If I'm so scared of him, I want to pick against it. I love Andy Capone.
And I haven't been getting any hate mail from Coach DJ saying I'm ranking them too low. So he must think I'm doing okay, or maybe he's just telling his team that I'm ranking them. I don't know. We'll see.
And there's no hate. I just thought about this. I'm like, oh shoot, well, they're probably thinking, oh, I had a player go to West. It has nothing to do with that. I'm thinking that independent. It's about teams getting hot. We got hot last year at the right moment, and I think Independence has a similar vibe right now. I really do. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, if there was a dark horse, and we need to go to 8A, but if there was one dark horse that we ain't really maybe talking a lot about that could create just a monkey wrench for the entire bracket, who would it be? I say Lake Norman.
Oh, Lake Norman, definitely. No chance.
I don't think either of them. I don't think Lake Norman can.
Flipping nightmare Bulldogs.
I will take Butler. There you go.
All right, guys.
November nightmare.
Coach Grice said the 4A Fight Club. I think 7A is the Fight Club this year. But let's move on to the 8A.
I think it's the 8A Fight Club. They ain't a bad game. They're not a bad game on there.
There's like 6 teams in the playoffs.
Well, Sam, I know you're going to suck the air out of
the small, tiny bracket.
You know that.
Starting here in the East, 8A East, Hoggard, number 1, Millbrook, number 2 seed. Number 3 seed is Jordan out of Durham. Number 4, Apex Friendship. Number 5, Rollsville. They host Green Hope this week. Number 6, Leesville Road. They host Broughton. That's by the way, a replay of last week, 14-7. Leesville win. I don't think Leesville played all their guys. Panther Creek 7 hosting Enlow, and then you got the Laney Willow Springs team. I think Laney's might be a little bit better than the experts think. Jim, I want to give you the first shot here at the 8A East.
Well, in the top half, Hoggard versus Rollsville, I think would be your the third round or whatever it is. And right now I have to give it to Hoggard. And in the bottom half, Jordan versus Millbrook, that is going to be a great game. I think those are the 2 best teams in the 8A East. I'm giving Millbrook the advantage, and I think Millbrook will win it all in the East.
I do think Millbrook escapes and goes there. I'm with you. Jordan's kind of lurking in the weeds, and I don't think Jordan's had a lot of discussion about him. I do agree Jordan's really good, but I'm kind of with you on Millbrook. Any of you guys got any thoughts on the 8A East?
I like Millbrook and Hoggard for the regional, and I like Millbrook coming out.
Yeah, Millbrook's pretty special defensively, no doubt. You know, they're doing some things. I would like to know a little bit more about Jordan. I know that they were flip-flopping, like it was depending on, I think if Northwest Guilford would have lost, they would have been in the West. So, you know, I'd be, if anybody saw them play, what kind of style they are, that'd be interesting to know.
You know, one team that gets my attention there is Rollsville. I mean, this is a team that everybody was high on to start the year that lost a couple of games to some really good teams. And, you know, talking to some guys this week, like, that is a super talented team up there. I mean, it doesn't take much for them to catch fire, and they can start knocking people out left and right because they've got the players there, from what I understand. And, you know,
and I can see Rollsville play their way past Hoggard. I really could. I've been up there. I've seen the guys at Rollsville. I mean, they're an immensely talented team. And oh, by the way, they played an aggressive, very, very aggressive schedule. And you know, they lost a few games earlier in the year, but I think those games they lost, you know, Mallard Creek, some other guys, I think that's going to make them a better team here in November.
They lost to Providence Day. I mean, come on, you know. That's a tough schedule, man. It's a tough schedule, and I can see them really being a problem there. And
Millbrook,
I mean, Millbrook, Coach Marshall, man, he's been getting it done for a while.
Well, I mean, the only losses Roseville has is Providence Day, Mallard Creek, and Millbrook. I think that's 3 juggernauts, you know. So
no doubt. So don't sleep on them. Shoot, you only got to win 2 games to get to the state championship game in 8A.
we're like
really good.
We're private school league now. We're private school league.
It's like our pickleball brackets in PE. There's like 12 teams.
Yeah, that's right. NCISAA has more games.
Get them out of here.
All right.
Stop putting that down. That's not true. Langston in the back. Top seats will get 2 buys. That is not true. What if, all right, I'll give you an example. All right. South makes it to the semifinals, wins. Did they get an extra bye week? No. They only got 1 bye week in the semifinal round for the other things, right?
But isn't the whole 8A taking the week off before the finals?
Exactly. So it's not the top.
Everybody's got a bye.
So, like, what is Langston got? Get that out of here. He don't know what he's talking about. He's just assuming.
Sam, do you have a bye week 1?
Yes.
Would you have a bye week 5?
Yeah, but you're saying it's
how many buys is that for the top seeds? How many?
Yeah, for the top. Yeah, top.
That's all that says. Top seeds get 2 bye weeks. Is that not? Did you say you get a bye week 1?
If they make it to the state championship,
if you make it to December 5th, do you get a bye week?
Yes, we would.
How many is that, Sam? Give me that West Charlotte math. How many is that?
Don't do that because all right. How many bye weeks does Myers? Not Myers.
I said top seeds. Top seeds, Sam.
It's
you going
Butler math?
Yeah, but
hey! My catching strays over here.
Top seed. Anyway, y'all go ahead.
All right, guys. Let's take a look at the 8A West. I know we got a lot of people that are eyeing that one. Huff, number 1 seed. Sam, your West Charlotte Lions, number 2 seed. Number 3 seed, Myers Park. Number 4 seed, Mallory Creek. I think there's no surprise to those 4 seeds. Coming in at the 5th seed, West Forsyth. They've been solid all year. 6th seed, Pinecrest. You know, they could have been an Eastern team, but they're in there. Pinecrest, I think they're a good team. I think that's going to be a tough game for Chambers. 7th seed, Providence. You know, they got an AK again this week. I think Providence is getting really good at the right time. I'd like to think that's going to be a competitive game, but I think Providence is probably a little bit too good. And then there you see the 8-9 game, South Meck Palisades. Jim or Dale, who wants this one first? Somebody take it.
I'm excited about the South Meck Palisades game. Because,
I think it's going to be a good one. I think it would be hard for me to pick that one. I hope Langston don't put it in the pick 'em this week.
Where did the quarterback for Palisades come from?
South Meck.
That's exactly right. Do you think he plays a little more emotional this game, or does he play with conviction? That's a very intriguing first-round game.
I mean, I really like South Meck's QB too.
I'll go ahead and.
I don't. Hey, I've had a quarterback before play against his old school. That's not the blessing you think it might be. Like that could be a big dang curse, man. That emotion, especially teenage kids, man. That emotion, that could be a big dang problem.
Okay, I'm gonna roll the whole West, Chris, and then I'll move on. We'll move on. Yeah. And instead of just talking about one game, that game, by the way, Palisade's gonna have to figure out how to finish a game. If they hadn't learned how to finish a game, and so far they haven't. Now maybe they did. Maybe they've learned a lesson. They're going to have to figure out how to finish a game. South Meck's a good football team. So, do I think Palisades or South Meck can be a contender in this realm of brackets? I think Huff and West Charlotte are like above everybody else. Myers Park showed that they can be a contender. They played fantastic defense in that game against Huff. They ended up having a hard time finishing the game as well. They lost their quarterback. I don't know what that means. I don't know if the kid played this past week, or if he's, if he'll be out any moving forward. He did walk off the field, but he had to be assisted off. So that could be an issue for you. So Myers Park's a better team than I thought they were. Huff's a really, really good team. Sorry, Sam. I love you. That's a really good team. You guys are going to have to play lights out to, Can
I just get to that game? Golly,
hey, should Huff
just get to that game? I think there's the Providence Argyle game. I believe that's Providence's game, and I think Providence is kind of team that knows how to finish. They don't get down on themselves. And watching them in that Palisades game, just getting beat to death and never quitting, just all going back out, executing, not arguing with each other. You coaches know how it happens when you start losing and you're getting beat real bad. Guys start talking to each other about how they're not doing their job and this and that. That team never did that. That was impressive. So they know how to finish. They know how to not get down on themselves. But there's some tough meat up there in the top parts of both sides of these brackets. They're going to have to face a West Charlotte.
Yeah.
I don't know about Pinecrest. Chambers. I really think it's going to come down to Huff in West Charlotte. Mallard Creek.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "What about Mallard Creek?"
Yeah.
No.
What
Look,
about?
listen,
about?
it's I got this. It's Huff and
Go
West
ahead.
Charlotte. It's Huff and West Charlotte. These other games, there might be some compelling games. You got a two-direction Guilford in there. Playing a West Forsyth team that's played some people. Like West Forsyth could be a little fly in the ointment, kind of. Maybe they can hang around and annoy Huff for a little while. Myers Park, who knows? Do they have a puncher's chance against West Charlotte? If they don't have their quarterback, probably not. Now Providence AK, could that be a fun game? Could it be compelling? Sure. But it's Huff and West Charlotte. Now you said, Sam, you got to play great against Huff. Huff's going to have to play great against West Charlotte too. If Huff has a rough night, West Charlotte's going to turn their lights out, man. Sam, what'd you guys give up? 50 points this year?
Yeah,
in 28 in one game.
Yeah, you got that's gonna be the game. As far as the East, I don't know. I'm gonna focus on the West here, but like I said, that's Huff and West Charlotte, and hopefully those other games are fun and keep us interested for a little while. But I think it's. Sam, what was the score when y'all played Providence? It was 60 to 10 or something like that. You beat Mallard Creek by the same score.
We gave up 7. I was mad about it.
Sam, will you even be at the Providence AK game?
Say what now?
Will you even be at that Providence AK game?
Don't lie. You ain't going.
I'll tell you all you need to know.
Why would you go to that
Providence
game?
is right down the street. I might come down the sideline, use my pass, and bother a couple of coaches a little bit just to piss some people off.
All right. Well, last question. Does any of you guys give Millbrook or anyone from the East a chance against the West? Or how do you feel?
Yes.
Yeah.
I say yes, because Huff and West Charlotte are going to have to play each other the week before. And I know they get another bye before that, I guess, whatever the deal is, or a pickleball tournament is. But, again, they're going to have to play each other, and who knows who comes out of that game. You can lose somebody, key player in that game, and I'm not saying that's what it's going to take, but you get to a state championship game, you're a good football team. Yeah. Whether it's Millbrook, whether it's Rollsville, whether it's Hogger, you're going to be a good football team, and they got a chance. Sure, they're going to be there.
3 of the best defenses. three of the best defenses in the entire state are in this 8A bracket. You got Huff, us, and Millbrook. Those 3 defenses are phenomenal. And
there's one other team I wanted to mention was West Forsyth. They haven't been scored on in nearly a month now, and they're a very loaded team. I think they'll beat Mallard Creek, and I'm kind of curious how West Forsyth.
I was thinking the same thing, Jim, because you just don't know what you're gonna get from week to week with Mallard Creek. Yeah. You just don't know.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, Gary, I'm gonna start with you. Just go pitch on the spot really quick. Who wins it all?
Who wins it all? Huff.
Hales. Who wins it all, Brian?
God, just because I want to annoy Sam, I'm gonna say Huff too. I want to give them something else, man. I saw Broom last night too. Let's say Huff. Come on, man.
You saw Broom for real? You saw Broom?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Millbrook over West Charlotte.
Dale.
All right, I'm flipping the coin.
All right, Sam, I know you're picking West Charlotte. I'm going to pick West Charlotte too. So, wait
a minute. Wait. No, I'm flipping that.
We didn't go over it, but I think we probably all agree Providence Day is going to win the private school championship. I feel that. But anyway, let's take a break because we got to come back.
Hold on. He got a timeout. No, I'm flipping my pick, man. Sam's been there. West Charlotte's won a state championship. Huff hasn't won a state championship yet. Experience matters. I'm going West Charlotte.
All right. You heard it right there. This is going to be on repeat in the Huff locker room for the next month. We know that. But anyway, hey, we're going to lock the doors when we come right back. Coach versus coach.
Hi, I'm Scott Fowler, sports columnist at the Charlotte Observer. I have been here 31 years, but you know what I never have had before here? A newsletter. I've got one now. It's free. I'd love you to sign up for it and get my take. Every single time I have a column, you'll see it first. Panthers, Hornets, college sports, high school sports, whatever controversies going on. Sign up for my free newsletter, and you will be able to get my column every single time earlier than anyone else.
That's right.
All right, guys. Round 1 of the playoffs is here, so we know what time it is. Let's lock the door, man.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
All right, the playoffs are here. That means we got to ramp up the intensity of the questions. I think today is going to be really good. I had a chance to take a peek at the questions Langston wrote for us. I think it's going to be really good. Sam, you want to go first?
Yeah, let's go, babe.
All right, I'm going to ask the first question, but actually we got a video to play, and then I'll ask the question.
Oh, good.
Well, they broke into our Huddle account, and Huddle's where we film, and they watched all of our practices this week. So that's bull crap. That's what that was all about. So, you know, somebody should pay for that. They, you know, just shouldn't do that. They were in our Huddle account.
What was Coach Brand's response when you told him pregame?
He acted like he didn't know, and I believed him. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. So I don't think he acknowledged he knew it, but there's other coaches that had to be complicit. And somebody watched film this morning for 2 hours at 6 a.m. Somebody watched our film for 2 hours at 6 a.m. Not happy about that.
Wow. I'm going to just say this. The GOAT, Tommy Knotts, TK as we call him, I don't think he's the guy that you want to get riled up heading into the playoffs. Obviously, he took care of business, beating Irmo 28-21 after that. But anyway, first question, coach versus coach. Dutch Fork coach Tommy Knotts said coaches for Irmo got into a school's Huddle account, watched 2 hours of practice. Sam, what do you think about that?
I would love to know who my assistant coach that gave one of their guys my login information. The only way they break in is someone gave their login.
Is Huddle cheating? Is that common? And what could be done about it?
Well, I mean, it's not cheating if someone's stupid enough to give them their Huddle account and not daggone change their passwords and stuff. So it's kind of like, and now Tommy, I wouldn't put it past him that like if he did something on purpose for them to look at something that they weren't supposed to look at, you know, but how does he know for a fact? Is he asked one, hey, did you watch film this morning for 2 hours? And you're like, Coach, I didn't do it. Someone else is doing it. And the other thing is this, there is no way, I'm going to tell you this right now, there's no way if that is the case that the head coach from Irmo did not know it was going on. I can tell you that for 100% because that other coach wants to get bragging rights like, Coach, guess what I got? I got their Huddle account. We can watch it. And I guarantee Brand might have been the one watching it for 2 hours.
Coach Hale.
Yeah, listen, when I leave the house in the morning, you know what the last thing I do is I lock the dang door. You know why I lock the door? Because I don't want people coming in that I don't want in my house. Like if you don't want people watching your stuff, you got to make sure it's secure. So, and I know like if I go onto my Huddle right now, I can see who's watched film. Go see which kid watched film for 2 hours and you find out that's where the password came from, you know, and so that's where it's from. Now, you know, should something be done? I mean, like I said, lock your door if you don't want people coming in the house. Make sure that stuff, like if you have a coach leaves, make sure they're deleted, make sure passwords are changed, so on and so forth. Is it common? I mean, I'm not saying I've never seen it happen before. Like you may have a coach that coached somewhere else that they didn't delete them off their thing. And, you know, heck, if I get a chance to watch somebody's extra games, I'm going to do that. Why not? Why not? Like Sam said, he had all our film before we played them. He said, you know, and I assume everybody's got every game you play now, especially at the NFHS network. Like, you know, not watching practice, that's a different thing. But again, I mean,
I'm gonna follow up right before Gary goes. If you have a college login, I don't have one. I've known people, you know, there's some people at Huff. I guarantee Chachi is as well known as he knows some. He's got a Huddle login from college. You can pull up anything that's game film and watch it. If you have End Zone, you can log in on that account for the college and watch their End Zone if it's on a view for the game. They can't watch practices, I don't think, like that. So that had to be someone's login through their own school. But anything game, there's a lot of ways that we got to monitor some things a little bit, and that's impossible to lock the door if you got a college login. But I agree with Hell's got to lock the door.
Gary.
I'm sitting here laughing because it's Tommy doing the complaining. That's what's funny to me.
What's that mean? What's that mean?
When I started coaching in 1988, okay, and until Tommy left CMS, there was always some little hanky-panky going on with Tommy and his staff. So for him to complain about it now, I mean, I've gotten film from Coach Knox that had the Flintstones in it, that had Ernest T. Bass in it, you know, plays skipped over. And, you know, when I went back to trade with him on Thursday night on the JV game, the first thing he got that little sly look on his face like, how'd you like that film? Because he knew he put something in it that shouldn't have been in there. Secondly, here's what gets me. Who has time to watch practice film? Okay.
That's probably all I would watch, though, if they're practicing for us that week, and I wouldn't know what they're doing if I had that.
What I'm saying, Brian and Sam, do you tape your practices every day?
No, I don't. No.
We try to.
What I'm saying is, who has time to do that? Well, that would be a coach who doesn't have to teach any classes.
Yeah.
You know, and to watch it, it would have to be a coach that doesn't have to teach any classes. So that just tells you what status Dutch Fork is in, that they got time to tape practices and watch practices. Because coaches in Charlotte, they don't have time to do all that. They got to teach class.
Gary, you were so animated, your hands were disappearing. Langston had thrown up this thing here from the Alabama State Championship coach Mark Thompson that said this happens a lot. Do you guys think it's common? How would you handle it if it was your staff, Coach Hales?
If it was my staff, that was watching somebody else's practice?
That watched somebody else's film.
Do what you got to do, man. They ain't cheating, they ain't trying. No, again, I mean, if they got the login stuff, because again, like, we all respect each other, we all care about each other, but we all stab each other in the back all season long when it comes to film. Like, I got a film request from some school today that, like, I don't know anybody on their coaching staff. Like, I'm not giving you film on a friend of mine, but, like, I know that stuff happens around here. So, again, like, I just assume everybody's got everybody's film at this point. Yeah. My other point to this is, and I don't know Coach Knotts that well, but, I mean, obviously competed against him enough. It wouldn't surprise me if he was blowing smoke about this thing just to give his team a little extra motivational edge. Say, hey, these guys are breaking in watching your practice film. You got to play harder than that. That wouldn't surprise me either.
We're all shaking our head yes. Coach Hales, I'm going to give you this next question first. Which classification has the toughest draw and why? And which classification has the easiest?
Oh, God.
Toughest is, I mean, I think toughest is probably, like, I want to say 7A, but that's 6A one. Like, that's 6A one. That's the, like I said, that was the Weather Channel one, right? That's got Ashbrook in it. It's got Sun Valley in it. Like, there's probably up to, I don't know, and you know better, 8 or 9 teams that could probably win like, that wouldn't surprise people that won a state championship. But, you know, that's just me. Sam, be mad at me if you want. But, like, that 8A, that's a 2-game bracket to win the state championship. You know, I mean, you and Huff have played those teams. Average scores like 45-0. Like, it's you have to win 2 games to win the state championship in 8A. I suspect 1A is probably really similar since they've only got a few teams in there. So the ones with fewer teams, because I do think the playoffs, like when you're looking at, 2 through 7A, if you have to win 6 games, like, that's a heck of a lot of football for a teenager to be playing that's had pads on, been wearing a helmet since July, June. I mean, heck, really since spring ball started, like, that's a lot of football to play. And so I think those teams with the shorter brackets, I think it's a little bit easier for them.
Sam, he called you out. What's your answer?
I'm going to say the toughest draw is, I'm going to look at it like this, is I don't know who's going to win. I'm going to go 2A West out in that way because, Corvian's like way down the list. Were they 7 or 8 or something like that? And I think they're
5, I think.
They're 5? Okay. Further down than I thought they would be. But, like, I don't know who's going to come out of that 2A West. And it's is it a Murphy? Is it someone else? You know, I mean, that one's kind of tough for me, to be honest with you. And so I would say that's the toughest one because I don't know. You know, anything can happen in all these brackets. And the easiest, I wouldn't say is 8-8. Now, is it easier to like, yeah, we don't play as many games. Good job. All right. It's like we're playing, but no, shoot, Providence Day has been the Sweet 16, like the last 5 years, 4 times. And they played one game to go to the championship. Okay. And so let's say that what it is. But I do say 3 of the top 5 teams in the entire state are in 8A. I would say that, you know, definitely. Maybe even if you get even tougher in it, it's easier to argue that 5 out of the, maybe 6 out of the top 10 out of regardless of classification, maybe even 7 are in 8A. So, yes, less games, but you got some really tough. I mean, Mallard Creek beat Roseville up pretty good, and we're talking about Roseville in this deal too. But, I mean, in 7A, they beat some really good 7A teams. And Myers Park, everybody's saying Weddington's their favorite, but y'all ain't giving Myers Park a chance. We have to play them in the second round or whatever the third round it is. And they kind of smoked Weddington. They smoked them.
Gary.
But I mean, to what you're saying, though, Sam, like 3 of the top teams in the state are in 8A. They should be. The top 5 in 8A should be better than the top 5 in 7A because numbers do matter there. Yeah. You know, so you should be. But, you know, again, so it's more of an apples and apples thing that like 8A, you got to play 8A schools. And it comes down to there's 3, you guys.
Well, it's just funny because last year it was 3A when we won the championship. And we got crap because 3A was a lot of schools, Hickory, Dudley, this, that, and the other. And I was like, man, that's tough. I think it's easier for all classifications, if you want to be honest, because we have 8 champions now. So definitely everything's a little easier.
I think so too.
Gary, finish it off.
Providence Day, they got to run and bye into the championship. And, you know, they could form an all-star team of private schools, and they couldn't beat Providence Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's me. I just figured it's such a foregone conclusion. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And then the tough is 7A. It's not close because West Charlotte and Huff, they're going straight to the final. So it's 7A.
Would Huff win 7A?
Would they win 7A?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good question.
Would West Charlotte win? Would West Charlotte win 7A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know where y'all was headed. I'm just curious.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, one more question to go here, coach versus coach. Again, first round of the playoffs. What advice would you have for a rookie coach about to embark in his first playoff journey? Gary, I'm going to let you start.
Playoffs and championships is two different things to me because, you know, when I went to a state championship, I reached out to people who had done it before. You know, like Coach Knotts and my mentor who was, you know, Rusty Gosnell White up from West Charlotte. But anyway, for a rookie coach, I would just treat it like it's another game. You know, it's just another game on the schedule. If you make it bigger than that, the kids might, you know, have some anxieties that they wouldn't normally have. I think what makes the first playoff game unique for a lot of schools is they're going against people they've never heard of. You know, that they, you know, the teams in Charlotte, even though they might not all play each other, they've heard of each other and they got an idea of the reputation of the people around town. But when you play in the playoffs, a lot of times you're playing people from an area that you're not familiar with. And that's what can make it difficult. So you want to treat it as a normal week. You don't want to make it bigger than it is because it could lead to some anxiety among the players.
Coach Hales, what do you think?
The first one, if you're in CMS, don't spend any money because you're doing this for free right now. So I'd say don't spend any money. But no, all kidding aside, like your kids are watching everything that you do, especially you get into the playoffs, especially like if you've been there. Like in 2011, like that was my first season as head coach. And, we were up at Greensboro Page, and I still have a hard time talking about it, but like everything, like the wheels came off us in the second half, and I lost my mind. And the kids followed me right down that path, and everybody else did too. So the big thing is like, especially now, like when it's winter, go home, you got to make sure whatever happens out there, you got to act like it's exactly what you expected to have happen, because all eyes are on you, looking to see how they should react in all these situations.
Sam, last word.
All right, so I'm gonna take a little further back. Hopefully, the rookie coach. You're saying a first year head coach, and all right. So the biggest mistake that I made, being a first head coach, is I try to delegate too much. A lot of times when you're becoming a head coach right from the get-go, your staff is not fully developed yet, and you better take ownership of offense and defense. It better be an identity that you believe in, and you can call both sides. It doesn't mean you have to call both sides, but I think that you need to be a part of, because the one thing you don't want to have happen in the playoffs or something like that, you don't have no clue what's going on defensively. You have no clue what's going on offensively, and the game's getting tough, and you're like, yo, what are you doing? You're just freaking out on the defense coordinator, the offense coordinator, and you don't have enough say-so in what's going on. So that's the one biggest thing. Now, when you get more developed and you develop your staff and you really trust someone, you can kind of just eyeball what's going on and then keep to the other side. Or if you're a full delegator, then you're okay if you're well established. But I think that's the biggest thing. Second thing is I think high school coaches make the biggest – this is not just a rookie coach, but this is something you might want to think about – is I think we utilize our timeouts like we are some type of like NFL or college-bound thing. Like we're going to keep 3 timeouts for a 2-minute drill. How often do you really get into a 2-minute drill situation in high school and you need your 3 timeouts? I think timeouts are more utilized, especially in the first half, for situations of momentum control. So like they're just driving down the field and you need to like, hey, guys, settle down. They're doing this, so settle down, because they are high school kids. They're not machines. College level, pro level, you're a little bit more machine-based and you keep them the timeout. So I think timeouts, use them for more momentum shifts. And then maybe if you got 1 or 2 and you need them, but if there's a big momentum shift, use a timeout, settle people down.
Well, Sam, I've seen firsthand that you'll call those timeouts.
I'll burn them, baby.
First 10 minutes, you call off.
I'm not using them for anything.
He's got to figure it out.
Sam will burn up a timeout on 4th and 20 because he don't have enough people on the punt.
That was one time, Gary. All right, calm down.
We are super heavy, but I got one question I want to ask Coach Hales. Providence is playing Audrey Kell for the 2nd straight week, and that's not the only time that things happen this week. How do you feel about playing in the playoffs against a team you just played 6 days ago?
I hate it. I hate it. And I mean, obviously, we did it a bunch of times. I mean, all those years.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I hate it. Because, again, it's almost like you're going into the 5th quarter, the 6th quarter, the 7th quarter, and the things that, like we talked about earlier, that some of the appeal to the playoffs is seeing some of these schools and some of these teams you haven't seen before.
Yeah,
I do think, and the one cliche that I hate, and I've heard it even used on this show in the past, that it's hard to beat a good team twice. The reason it's hard to beat a good team twice is because they're a good team, not because you played them for the 2nd time. So, I don't think that has that much of a factor to it. But I think it's just it gets kind of stale more than anything. Like, all right, it's the same scheme. We know this kid. We know that kid. So you got to find a way to keep them excited about it, other than it's the playoffs where, you think they're going to be excited anyway, but it's hard to impress this generation. It's hard to get them excited for stuff.
All right, Gary, you wanted the last thoughts. What you got?
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to all the teams that made the playoffs. But more important, and best of luck to all those teams that are in the playoffs. But more so, I want the teams and the kids that didn't make it, don't exhale. Don't say it's over. You develop habits during football season of coming to school, getting to class on time, behaving properly at school. Just because the season is over doesn't mean you stop those things. Those things now have to be habit. So to all the players, whether you are going to the playoffs or you're staying at home because you didn't make it, you've developed good habits because you play football, because there are expectations of you. And just because the season is over doesn't mean those expectations change. You still do the right thing, and maybe next year will be a year. But the things your coaches expect of you become habit. Don't break those habits just because the season is over.
I love that. Oh, I
That
see
was
some
awesome,
clap. I see
Gary.
some clap. He said he had something
That
to
was
say.
awesome, man.
All right, we are super heavy, but I hope you guys that watch this saw that we got the best group, man. We got the best group. That's why I was in the back. I was just watching. I was a fan today. We got the best group. Turn these guys loose. Let them talk about football. Dale is super passionate about football. Dale's a little mad at me because I couldn't get his parents up. We're going to get those on Wednesday.
I'm not mad.
I promise.
He texted me.
on
He is
Wednesday.
pissed.
Dale's
He
my
is
guy.
pissed.
But that's Dale Ross, the CMS historian. That's Gary Richmond, the CMS teacher, former coach. That is Sam Griner, the two-time state championship coach from West Charlotte. Chris Hughes, the #1 voice of high school football. You saw it tonight in spades. And that is Brian Hales, the 3-time state championship coach from Butler. Maybe next year I had to change what I
The
said.
November nightmare.
November nightmare. Let's go.
I may have to change it next year. We might be adding on to those state championship coaches. But I'm Langston, and we are done talking Preps.